back to this week's Coach's Chalk Talk session right here on the Fever. And joining us this week, I'm glad to have defensive coordinator from Friendship, Don Black. Coach Black, appreciate you coming in and joining us.
Thank you, George. Appreciate you having me.
The Tigers coming off a big win over Abilene Cooper, doing it on the road. And, you know, a lot of credit goes to this guy doing it a lot on defense. Coach, I don't know if you can heap any better words, you know, or any more appropriate words than amazing, stupendous on that defense for the job they did against Cooper.
They're playing outstanding. They're certainly playing better than we thought they could, and we attribute it to the kids and my assistant coaches, because I guarantee you they're ready to play every game, and it's amazing the things that they're doing that we didn't think they could do.
Yeah, I mean, this is a group, I mean, you know, and we've talked about it before. It's kind of been well chronicled. You had to replace all 11 starters, you know, 7 or 8 of their backups. I mean, you only had about 4 or 5 guys of your 22 deep coming back. Talk about what's made this group so special and what's allowed them to gel so quickly.
I think the major thing they've done is they've really never had a chance to play, especially on the varsity level. They played JV ball and so on, and they got their chance, and they started last spring with the idea that they were going to be really good, and I think that's the thing that's brought them together. The fact that they haven't been a person that contributed on the varsity very much, and so now all of a sudden they've got their chance, and I guarantee you they are taking advantage of it, and they love each other, and they're playing extremely hard and extremely smart.
You know, and a lot was made about the talent from last year's group. I mean, but this is not an untalented group. There's a lot of good, solid, you know, defensive football players on this group.
Exactly. We're undersized compared to what we were last year, but in some ways that's better because we're probably faster than we were last year. Maybe not the defensive line, but our linebackers are probably a little faster. We're running. Our safeties are playing great, and they're the heart and soul of our defense because they're in the middle there. They got to help us on the run and the pass. So we do have a lot of speed out there, and we even showed that against Abilene Cooper because Cooper can run. They've got some fast kids, and we were able to run them down on occasion.
Talk about that game, though, Coach. I mean, just 96 rushing yards allowed. Obviously, Eamon Pimpton wasn't full strength. He didn't play all that much. I mean, but they've got some other talented kids behind him that you guys held down pretty. I mean, they just really couldn't run the football against
Exactly.
you guys.
That was my biggest fear going in because Cooper is a running football team, although they can throw the ball, but they're a running football team, and that's what they've lived on. And so that was a scary thing going in. Can we stop their run? Because their offensive line is good, their running backs, their scheme's great. And so we were really pleased and really surprised that we could hold them as well as we did defensively against the run because they are an outstanding running team.
Talk about, I mean, and it seemed like these guys really, you know, not that they haven't before in other games, but came out with really a lot of emotion. They're listening to the radio and some of the pregame stuff. Looks like, I mean, they were just so, you know, as high as they could get for this game.
Yeah, you know, that's a thing you never know going into a ball game, how your kids are going to play or how they perform. Because our workouts really weren't all that different. I mean, we had good workouts, but we have good workouts nearly every week. And going down there, they were a little more subdued maybe than they normally are on a trip. But you know, they watched the movie on the bus and so on, and they didn't really seem that much different before the game. But when they fired that first shot, I mean, they were getting after it.
Well, talk about, I mean, you know, this is a group that, you know, is obviously different than, like we said, from last year and does some different things. But, you know, we've got your defense up here. Talk about, you know, where the strengths of this defense are and what kind of angles and what, you know, what they really do best up here, Coach.
Yeah, I think, of course, we start with these 3 guys right here because they are the 3 linemen that control the line of scrimmage if they can. These guys, you know, those kids we had last year were great players, and 2 of them are playing in college, and well, actually all 3 of these guys are playing in college this year, and they were outstanding players, and they were a little bigger. These kids do it more on their speed and quickness because they're like 195, about 210, and about 190 on that side, and so they do it more with their speed and quickness and so on. But they're the ones that have got to get penetration and make the runner not go where he wants to, make him go somewhere else. And then once they do that, then these 4 guys, those linebackers, are the ones that have got to run when he breaks it out or cuts back. Or we just want him to not run where they intend for him to run. That's our goal.
I think maybe this may be the most impressive group of linebackers between guys like Stoney Allison, Nick Britton, guys like this. I mean, it just seems like they're sitting there 10, 15, 20 tackles a game out there.
Yes, they are. And that, you know, they're making a lot of plays. Of course, part of it's because of these guys, but they are. And every one of those is guys that have not played on the varsity. We have one player here that played on the varsity last year, Alec Birchfield, but he was not a defensive player. Right. He played on offense. And the rest of those guys did not play. Buddy, the nose guard, subbed a little bit last year in some games, but he was really about number 6 or 7 in the depth chart, and so he played little. But those guys are extremely fast, and another thing they have is they're extremely smart kids. They are really, really smart.
Now, against Cooper, like we said, Cooper was mainly a running team. You're going up against Lakeview. Lakeview can run the ball, but, they've got a good quarterback in John David Baker who can throw the ball. You've got him up here. Talk about what you're looking for is how to defense against Lakeview this week.
Of course, what we got to do is key on the quarterback because he's the key to everything they do. If they run a play, they're going to cross here and fake, and he'll either keep it or he'll hand it to that guy. And so we got to be able to read that. We got to play disciplined football so that we stay where we belong and don't run off, with anyone back. We can't go chasing that back. Against Cooper, it was a little different because that quarterback was not a runner. He was only a thrower. So we had to know where that guy was going. But against Lakeview, you got to be more balanced because of the fact that you don't know for sure where the ball's going because you don't know who's going to carry it when they snap the ball, and you can't tell by looking at it. So these guys are really going to have to do a great job of being disciplined, and that's where, of course, against them too, that these two guys, that's our two safeties. There are two returning kids that played a lot of ball last year. Jedediah Manning and Lance Ratliff all played a good bit at safety last year, and they're kind of the heart and soul in there in the middle because they make tackles, but they got to make sure they cover the pass too. So.
Well, whether it's Cooper, whether it's Lakeview, I've seen them against Hereford. They did an outstanding job playing a passing game against Hereford. Doesn't matter what these guys do, they've been able to be successful. Friendship Tiger defense has just been outstanding again this year. Coach Black, we appreciate you coming in this week.
Thanks so much for having me, and we love our kids, and we're proud of them.
Oh, well, you should be, absolutely. When we come back, we'll run down this week's games, and I'll give you my picks right here on The Fever.